Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage. I'm Leslie Watkins. Today is the last day of Sale-A-Bration, okay? So it's going to be a really fun program today. So if you don't have your coffee, you want to go get yourself a cup of coffee or tea, now's the time. I hope you're well. Sorry I was a couple minutes late. I had to get a refill on my coffee because I knew that I had a lot to share with you today, and I wanted to make sure that I had everything I needed, and I run on coffee, so got that squared away. So all this week I've been focusing in on products that you can get for free during Sale-A-Bration. And today is day 7. It's the last day of my creative burst. It's also the last day of Sale-A-Bration, so you just have until midnight tonight to take advantage of this special deal. It really is a special deal, and I will be reviewing that with you today. This is no joke. This is a great time to stock up on your paper crafting supplies. So if you need paper, glue, tools, embellishments, whatever it may be, envelopes, note cards, this is the time to get them, because if you spend just $50, you're going to be able to select a free product. So let me show you the brochure for one last time. And I'm just going to check my settings quickly here, make sure that we're broadcasting. I also have a lot of news for you today of things that are coming up. So stay tuned for that. Okay, that looks good. All right, so this is the little Sale-A-Bration brochure. Okay, it's small, but it's jam-packed with a lot of really lovely things. So in here, you've got papers, stamps, more paper, stamps with imagery, stamps with sentiments, more beautiful paper. These papers are 12 by 12. They're double-sided. They are archival papers. They won't crack. They won't discolor. They're absolutely gorgeous. They all coordinate. Another stamp. We're going to be using this again today with the butterfly. Here is a double set. Okay, this is, excuse me, this is free with a $100 order. You can get a stamp set and the coordinating paper, and this also coordinates with a set from the regular JJ Mini catalog, which is gorgeous. In that set you get a stamp and a punch, so something to look out for. And then we have another, so if you end up, let's see, how does this go? This is a special deal. So this is if you spend $300, you can get this set in addition. All right, and then there's information in the back here about joining. I'm going to talk a little bit about that today as well, because in addition to the regular fantastic deal of joining where you get $125 worth of product for only $99, just until today only during Sale-A-Bration, you also can get all of these papers, these designer series papers. Okay, so this is actually 5 packages of 20 papers each, double-sided, for a total of 200 pieces of beautifully coordinating papers with really lovely textures on them. So that also ends today. So there's a lot of things to talk about. And I want to do a quick review and show you what I have made so far this week using some of these products. So the first day, let me make sure you're zoomed out because we're going to need space here. So the first day I made this cute little chocolate treat holder, and this is using a couple of punches. This blue paper is the Paper Blooms DSP, and it holds a little piece of Ghirardelli chocolate. So that was day one. Then I showed you how to make this kind of shabby chic card, upside down, and I used some of that designer series paper. I used 2 different stamp sets, and I just kept it neutral, and I concentrated on making lots of texture. And I'm not going to talk about these too much because you can just go back and you can see these videos at your leisure. You can also go to my YouTube channel at Dandelion Cottage where you can see a lot more videos. And then I went ahead and I made this second card similar to the first, just using bits and pieces and scraps that are left over on my desk. And I like the way that turned out, so I thought I'd share that with you today. On the third day was a Wednesday, so I painted in watercolor. Actually, did I paint in watercolor or ink? I don't even remember. Anyway, either either watercolor or ink. So here it is in, I think it was ink. So here it is in the water-based inks that we use to refill our stamp pads. And I used the stamp set, a touch of ink, and I should show you this because it's got a little bit of a 3D quality to it. So you see the wings are translucent and pop out, and they are made with stamped vellum. Okay, so there's day 3, and I thought I would show you this card again. This is the same stamp set, again painted with ink. So you can get a lot of beautiful cards out of these sets. This one features the hummingbird, the butterfly, and the freesias. I'm going to be using this again today. Oh, here it is again. This is the very similar to this one, only this time I colored it in with the blends, which are the alcohol markers. Then I made a card featuring the designer series paper. I decorated the envelope as well. And here is a little box that I made also using this blueberry paper, which I just fell in love with. I made a chocolate box, this one using the Flower and Field designer paper. And remember, all of these things are free. All of them come out of the Sale-A-Bration catalog. So after the video, when I post the links, you'll be able to peruse all of the different products that are available. And then I made a tea box. So this box holds packets of tea, and it's decorated with the again the berry blossom, or belly, I keep saying that wrong, I'm sorry, it's Berry Blessings stamp set and the Berry Delightful DSP. And I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that takes us up to today. All right. And so what I thought I would do today would be to share with you a kind of a mixing and mingling of several of the different free items that are available in that brochure. So let me just clear this away and we'll get started. And by the way, where are you all from? Leave a comment. Of several of the different. I'm going to be answering questions later today, so if you have any questions, please let me know that you're here. Type them in, and later I will have a chance to look at them and do my best to answer your questions. So this is the, get the name right, this is the Paper Blooms Designer Series paper. So I'm going to be using some Designer Series paper from here. I'm going to be using a sentiment from the Heal Your Heart stamp set. And I'm going to be using this Thank You because I think that's so pretty. And I'm going to be using several stamps from the Touch of Ink stamp set. I have some dimensionals. I have the Champagne Rhinestone Basic Jewels. I have some pieces of scrap paper, so I've got Old Olive, Berry Vanilla, have my envelope. This is the Daffodil Delight, more Old Olive. I have a piece of vellum. I have the thick Berry Vanilla for my card base. And I have this beautiful Designer Series paper from that Paper Bloom set. I also have a piece of the Fluid 100 watercolor paper. And I'm going to be using the 3 basic tools, I should say 4, but the top 3 are the trimmer, my snips, and the bone folder, and 4, which is not really a tool, but the multi-purpose liquid glue. So these are the sort of must-have items that I would really recommend that everybody start with, because these are the things that you will be using every day for your go-to, whether you're making cards, boxes, treat holders, you name it. So I'm going to start with my card base. And I want this to be a tent style card. So I'm first going to score it at 4 1/4, and then cut it down to 5 1/2. It's just standard size, a half sheet of paper. So I'll just need this. Oh, I have a special announcement. That's my alarm to let me know. That's Otello, and he wants you to know that coming in March, there's going to be a special challenge announced. It's going to be the Creative Coop Challenge, and it's going to feature the Hey Chick and Hey Birthday Chick bundles. And you can find out more about this challenge at dandelioncottagedesign.com. Go there and subscribe to Notes. And Notes is my newsletter that comes out on the 1st of the month, and it'll have all the information in there. And hopefully Otello will stop in a minute. If not, I'll put him in the powder room. Okay. Then I'm going to take my Designer Series paper, and I'm going to cut this down to 5 1/4. By 4. Okay, and that's going to be my mat on my card front. But I'm also going to decorate my envelope flap. So the envelopes measure 5 3/4. So I'm just going to cut this down to 5 3/4. And where's my, it's 2 1/4. All right, I'm going to have to show you Otello because he's being such a pest. Does everybody want to see Otello? Send me a heart if you want to see Otello. Let me see. Can I see any hearts here? I don't see any hearts. Maybe I'm not set up to do that. Okay, let me go get him. Okay, here's the little noise bucket. That's Otello. Anyway, he is a bantam chicken, which means that he's very tiny, and he doesn't usually come into the house. I just brought him up here because I thought it would be good for him to get out of the basement. We've got a couple of feet of snow outside, and so the chickens that are in the coop can huddle together and stay warm all together. But Otello lives by himself because I don't want him to fight with Lothario. And so he doesn't have anybody to cuddle with during the winter. So he lives in the basement until it's warm enough for him to go back out. But every once in a while he comes up to say hello. And I thought you might like to meet him. So let me show you him again. All right, there he is. And hopefully he'll be quiet now for the rest of the show. Probably not, but we'll see. Okay. Oh, I got heart. Oh, look, Otello, they love you. Everybody, tell me where you are coming from so I can see my new friends. All right, so we've got our envelope flap. We've got this. Now, what I want to do is, this is the Fluid 100 watercolor paper. We're only going to need half a sheet of that. So I'm going to cut that down at 3 1/2. He is easy to fall in love with. He's a very handsome boy. All right, so now I'm going to make this piece just a little bit bigger. So let's go 3 3/4. Wait a sec. Forgetting my measurements here. That's 5. Okay, let's do this first. So 5. Let me think about this. Let's do this. I may have to cut my, see how it looks. The problem is I don't want to cover up this beautiful DSP too much, so I just want to do a little window here. So I may have to cut my my watercolor paper down a little bit. So that would be what? That would be at about 4. Okay, let's try that. This way. Okay, bear with me while I figure out my measurements here. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. And then we'll make this 2 3/4. That's it. Okay, and then, okay, I want the yellow to be just a little tiny bit bigger than that. So let's make this 4 1/8 by 2 7/8. Let's double check that. Perfect. Okay, so that's the look I'm going for. I just want a little bit of that yellow peeking through, so it looks something like that. And now I can see I need to cut this down to, maybe we can get away with 1/4 of a sheet. That would work out well. This is going to be, measure twice, cut once. This is going to be 2 1/4. Yes, that's perfect. Okay, so we can get away with 1/4 of a sheet of the Fluid 100 watercolor paper. Okay, so this is how it's coming together. Now what I want to do here is go into my Touch of Ink stamp set, and I'm going to get out my butterfly line work. We'll see if that fits on here. And it does. Okay. And I'm going to stamp that with, let me see what stamps I have. Okay, well I have Sahara Sand handy, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. I'm going to stamp off once. Because I did re-ink my ink pad, so I think that's pretty dark. There we go. So there's my butterfly. And actually, while I have the ink out, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a little bit of these leaves on there as well. Alright, and the ones I'm talking about are these. I'm going to be using these leaves and these flowers. Just a tiny bit showing. So I don't have to stamp up my entire stamp. I can just put part of it onto the stamp pad and just have those coming down like so. Oops, I forgot to stamp off. That's okay, it'll wash away. And then those flowers, which I think look like freesias, but maybe there's something else. Stamp that off. And there we go. And that's it. It's just a little bit of vignette. And a vignette is just an image that has soft edges that sort of disappear off the sides. So I'm going for a very soft look here. I have my inks in this little palette. So this is yellow, red, and blue. And I have a water painter here. And I'm going to start by just diluting some of this ink. I'll zoom you in so you can see better what I'm doing because I know it's tiny. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to moisten the background. And then I'm going to take that diluted blue and I'm just going to put a little bit of a wash. Just so it looks like a sunny day. And then I'm going to do the vignetting, which is to just soften those edges and let them fade away. Make sure I'm in camera here so you can see what I'm doing. Go. This is very easy to do. And by the way, please subscribe to Notes because I have 2 free watercolor classes coming up in March. So that address again is dandelioncottage.com. Subscribe to Notes, and I will have information in this month's issue about how you can register for these 2 free watercolor classes coming right up. All right, now I'm taking my yellow. I'm sorry, my hand is in the way. Let me do this so you can see. So I'm just taking, again, I'm diluting. Remember, these are very concentrated colors, so you want to dilute. And I'm going to put a little wash on my butterfly, just like so. And a little bit of yellow on my flowers. And then I'm going to mix the yellow and the blue together in my leaves to make green. So let's just get some yellow on there to start with. Add some blue. And there's the green. Isn't color magic, how that happens? It's so much fun. And just want to get that a little bit darker. There we go. And I'm going to go back into my butterfly with a little stronger mix of yellow, just to increase that color. And the same thing in the flowers. Okay, and then I'm going to add a little bit of red. So there's, oops, I'm sorry. There we go. There's my red, and I'm diluting that way down with plenty of water. And get some yellow. There we go. And I can just drop that in and let that swirl around. I think you can see that pretty clearly. I'm just letting those 2 colors mix together. And then what I want to do is I need a nice dark mixture for the body of the butterfly. So if I mix the, here's some of that red. And if you have a dinner plate or a larger palette, that will make it much easier for you to make your color mixtures than these little tiny areas that I'm using here. But for a little card like this, it's perfectly fine. So that's my violet mixture, kind of a blue violet. And this time I'm not using a lot of water. And I just want to touch, see how dry that is. I want to make sure that it's dry enough that when I put these lines on here, they will hold. And that's fine. I'm just going to indicate the legs, the antennas, the head, the abdomen, and there's our little soft butterfly painting. Okay. I think I could put a couple more touches inside those flowers. So let me just, using the tip of my brush now, I'm just going to paint a couple of these petals so we don't lose our flowers here. There we go. Okay, let's get back to making our card now. So I'm just going to rinse out my brush, put the lid back on. These water painters have a reservoir in the handle with water, which makes them really great for sketching out of doors if you're doing some nature studies. They're very handy to have. Let me get my inks out of the way before we have an incident. We don't want any incidents. And the next thing I want to do is I've got this is my vellum cardstock, and I'm going to go ahead and get that butterfly back out again. Okay, I haven't moved. I know there's an ink pad here somewhere. It has absolutely disappeared. I don't know how this happens to me. Are you guys looking at it? This is crazy. Wow. Okay, it's completely vanished off my desk. Okay, let me get a different one. I'm sure you're all laughing at me now. Okay, here's my crumb cake. And I'm going to zoom you out a little so you can see. Maybe if I zoom you out, you can see my ink pad. All right, so there's the butterfly again, and I'm just going to stamp that in a corner of the vellum. Okay, so there it is. And then what I'm going to do is I have some blends here. And I'm just going, let me get a piece of white paper so you can see better. All right, here's just a, okay, so there's my butterfly. And I'm just going to take my blends, and now what I've done is I've turned it over. So this is the side that I stamped on. I'm turning it over. I'm taking my Daffodil Delight, and I'm just going to I was on the wrong side. Whoops. Okay, so now I'm on the opposite side. That's what you want to avoid. You see, I was using it on the side that I stamped on, and I removed a little bit of the drawing. So you want to go on this side. I'm going to take my dark one, add a little bit stronger yellow. And then I also have some of the pumpkin pie, so I'm going to start with the light pumpkin pie and see how that looks. Not too much of a difference. So let's go straight to the dark pumpkin pie. There we go. That's the color I'm looking for. All right, I'm just going to blend that a little more with the yellow. There we go. Okay, so it's just a little tint to give us that kind of stained glass effect. And then I'm going to just cut that out. I don't need the body, I just need a little bit of a tab to apply my glue dot to. See, so I'm just leaving just a little extra at the base so that I can bend it up with the glue dot. And then I'm just going to cut these wings, and these are very easy to do. Here we go. That looks good. Take that corner off. Okay. Now I'm going to start to assemble. So I'm going to take my watercolor painting, or my ink painting, going to glue that onto my old olive mat. I'll hold that for a moment. Give that a good burnish. The watercolor paper, the Fluid 100 watercolor paper, is 140-pound paper, so it's pretty stiff. And you want to make sure that that is adhered well to the cardstock, because as the water evaporates, it's going to cause it to buckle a little bit. So you just want to make sure that you've got plenty of glue and that you burnish really well. Keep that nice and flat. Okay. Now, oh, I got a new glue. Take this one, put it on my Daffodil Delight that's just going to peek out. Okay, give that a burnish. Make sure it's nice and straight. Okay. And then my DSP, I'm going to do a little bit of everything today. I can already feel that watercolor paper wanting to bend up. So you'll need to use plenty of glue. You don't have to go right to the tippy edge. You know, keep your glue bead around 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch away from the edge. But this glue is very strong and it will hold it beautifully. Okay, so there's the front of the card, and since I've got the glue out, let's just get the flap of the envelope done. Okay. I really like this paper. It is beautiful. This is a paper that coordinates with the soft sea foam and the old olive, and it's just really pretty. Okay, just trim those extras off. There's our envelope. Give that a good burnish. Now let's decorate our card. So I'm going to use a glue dot for my little translucent butterfly wing here. Okay, and so what I can do is I can put my thumb on that little tab that I left there and just bend that up. Okay, so I have a little area that I can apply my glue dot to. I'm going to press that in there. Okay, and then just lay, let me zoom you in so you can see a little bit better. Okay, so I'm just going to lay this over the top of the butterfly like that, and then press down on that tab. And there he is. And you can still see his body through both the vellum and the glue dot, so that's very cool. All right. And you get that beautiful translucent quality of the light passing through the vellum. But we're not done. I have a scrap of the old olive, and I've got some very vanilla. I'm going to take my old olive ink, and I have a sentiment here that is, let me show you the stamp case again. Oops, oh, I'm dropping everything, hang on. There we go. So going back to the stamp set here, there is a stamp here that says thank you so much, and I want to thank you all so very much for spending this week with me and watching all these videos I've been making during the Sale-A-Bration Creative Burst. So this is dedicated to my friends out there who have been watching, and thank you for leaving such lovely comments. I really appreciate it. It means so much to get your feedback, because working alone here in the studio, you just never know. All right, so I'm just going to stamp that on my scrap. I'm going to cut that out. A little strip, because I'm going to use the double oval punch, which is a really handy punch to have because so many of these sentiments fit perfectly in there. So there's my thank you. And then I'm taking this scrap of old olive and I get that beautiful scalloped edge oval, which I can now layer this up on. If I can pick it up. There we go. And let's see, I'll put that down there. I'm going to use my dimensionals for that. All right, and then for just a little bit of sparkle, I have my champagne rhinestones. I really like these rhinestones because they go with so many different colors. They're just the right tone. They're not too gold. They're not too glitzy. They're just really pretty. And I'll put a little rhinestone there, and I'll get one. Maybe I can get three. Let's see if I can get three over here. Let me see. Maybe that's too many. Oh, I think that's enough. Okay. The butterfly's not that big. All right. So there it is. There is my thank you card to you for being such good friends and watching all my videos. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you. I want to let you know again that today is the very last day of Sale-A-Bration. So, and Otella wants to remind you to please subscribe to Notes from Dandelion Cottage so that you can participate in the Creative Coop Challenge with the Hey Chick and the Hey Birthday Chick bundles. So stay well, stay creative. I'll see you again tomorrow when we get back to Marvelous Monday. And leave me any messages or questions that you may have. If you want to talk to me about joining Stampin' Up! Or have any questions about placing an order, just send me a direct message and I will take care of you. All right? I'll see you tomorrow.